The unlikely ambassador. The vast expanse of space stretched before Jack Harper as he gazed out the viewport of the interstellar shuttle. Stars streaked by in brilliant flashes, a reminder of the immense distance he had traveled from Earth. Jack ran a hand through his disheveled brown hair, still struggling to believe that he, of all people, had been chosen for this mission. Ambassador Harper, a metallic voice chimed, startling him from his reverie. We are approaching Zephyrien space. Please prepare for deceleration. Jack nodded, straightening his rumpled diplomatic uniform. He was an unconventional choice for this assignment, to say the least. At 32, he was the youngest ambassador Earth had ever sent on a solo mission, and his reputation for unorthodox methods had earned him both admirers and detractors back home. But desperate times called for desperate measures. The Zephyrien Empire, a highly advanced but isolationist alien civilization, had finally agreed to open diplomatic relations with Earth after centuries of seclusion. The potential for cultural and technological exchange was enormous, if humanity could avoid offending their notoriously sensitive new allies. As the shuttle dropped out of faster-than-light travel, Jack's breath caught in his throat. The Zephyrien homeworld loomed before him, a shimmering orb of swirling purples and blues. Massive orbital structures surrounded the planet, a testament to the aliens' technological prowess. Zephyrien control to Earth vessel, a new voice crackled over the comm. State your purpose. Jack leaned forward, clearing his throat. This is Ambassador Jack Harper of Earth, requesting permission to land and present my credentials to the Imperial Court. A tense moment of silence followed before the reply came. Permission granted, Ambassador. Follow the designated flight path to the Imperial spaceport. As the shuttle began its descent, Jack's mind raced. He had studied everything available about Zephyrien culture, but so much remained unknown. Their reluctance to share information meant that even basic facts about their physiology and social structures were mysteries. The spaceport was a marvel of crystalline architecture, towers spiraling impossibly high into the lavender sky. As Jack disembarked, he found himself face to face with his welcoming committee and his first real glimpse of a Zephyrien. The alien before him stood nearly 7 feet tall, with iridescent scales covering its slender frame. 4 arms emerged from its torso, each ending in delicate, multi-jointed fingers. But it was the Zephyrian's face that truly captured Jack's attention. A mesmerizing blend of avian and reptilian features, with large, compound eyes that shimmered with intelligence. Greetings, Ambassador Harper, the Zephyrian said, its voice a melodious trill. I am First Emissary Zix. Welcome to our world. Jack bowed deeply, recalling his briefings. The honor is mine, First Emissary. I bring greetings and hopes for friendship from the people of Earth. Zix's head tilted, compound eyes flickering in what Jack hoped was approval. Your journey must have been long. Please, follow me to your accommodations where you may rest before your audience with the Imperial Court. As they walked through the spaceport, Jack couldn't help but marvel at the technology surrounding them. Holographic displays flickered with alien script, while vehicles that seemed to defy gravity glided silently overhead. Your world is truly breathtaking, Jack said, hoping to break the ice. I've never seen anything like it. Zix's scales rippled in a pattern Jack couldn't interpret. We are pleased you find it agreeable. Though I must admit, we find the concept of breathtaking curious. Do humans often struggle to breathe when confronted with new experiences? Jack chuckled, realizing the idiom hadn't translated well. Ah, it's just a figure of speech. It means I'm very impressed. I see, Zix replied, though Jack sensed confusion still lingered. Human language is quite colorful. We look forward to learning more about your species. They boarded a sleek transport that whisked them towards the capital city. As they traveled, Jack observed the Zephyrien landscape with wonder. Crystalline spires rose from lush purple vegetation, while strange, balloon-like creatures drifted lazily through the sky. First Emissary, Jack ventured, I hope you'll forgive my ignorance, but our knowledge of your people is limited. I'd be grateful for any insights you could share to help me avoid potential misunderstandings. Zix was quiet for a moment before responding. Your candor is appreciated, Ambassador. It is true that we have been reluctant to share much about ourselves with outsiders, but perhaps that is changing. What would you like to know? Jack considered carefully. Well, for starters, I notice your scales seem to shift when we were talking earlier. Does that have a particular meaning? Ah, you are observant, Zix said, sounding pleased. Yes, our scales can change color and pattern to convey emotions and subtle meanings. It is an important part of our communication. Fascinating, Jack replied earnestly. I'll do my best to pay attention to those cues. Is there anything about human behavior I should warn you about? Things that might be considered rude or offensive in your culture? Zix's scales shimmered in what Jack was beginning to recognize as amusement. Your direct approach is refreshing, Ambassador. Many species we've encountered try to hide their ignorance. As for potential offenses, perhaps it's best if I simply alert you should you commit any faux pas. Jack grinned. I appreciate that. And please, feel free to ask me anything about humans or Earth. I'm an open book. An open book? Zix queried. Another curious phrase, but I understand your meaning. Tell me, Ambassador Harper, why were you chosen for this mission? You seem different from what we expected of an Earth diplomat. Jack's grin faded slightly. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I've always had a knack for connecting with different cultures, thinking outside the box. But this assignment, let's just say there were plenty of more experienced candidates. Zix's compound eyes studied him intently. Perhaps your leaders recognize that unconventional times call for unconventional methods. We Zephyrians value innovation and adaptability highly. Before Jack could respond, the transport slowed to a stop. They had arrived at a towering structure that seemed to be made entirely of some opalescent material that shifted colors in the alien sunlight. We have arrived at the diplomatic quarter, Zix announced. Your accommodations are within. Please rest and prepare yourself. The Imperial Court awaits you tomorrow, and it promises to be an enlightening experience. As Jack stepped out of the transport, he felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. Tomorrow would be his first true test as Earth's ambassador. The fate of human-Zephyrian relations, and perhaps the future of both their species, rested on his shoulders. Thank you, First Emissary, Jack said, bowing once more. I look forward to tomorrow's audience, and to learning more about your fascinating world. Zix's scales rippled in a pattern Jack was beginning to associate with approval. Until tomorrow, Ambassador Harper, may your dreams be filled with the harmony of the spheres. As the Zephyrian glided away, Jack turned to face his new home. The enormity of his task settled upon him, but so did a sense of determination. He had always thrived on challenges, on pushing boundaries. And what greater challenge could there be than bridging the gap between two vastly different civilizations? With a deep breath, Jack stepped forward into his new life, ready to face whatever surprises the Zephyrian Empire had in store for him. Little did he know, the greatest surprise of all awaited him at tomorrow's Imperial Court, a surprise that would change not only his life, but the course of galactic history itself. The Princess and the Proposal. The Zephyrian Imperial Palace defied human imagination. Its ever-shifting crystalline walls pulsed with bioluminescent light, creating an otherworldly atmosphere that left Jack Harper breathless. As he followed First Emissary Zix through winding corridors, he couldn't shake the feeling that the entire structure was somehow alive. Ambassador Harper, Zix's melodious voice trilled, I must warn you. The Imperial Court can be overwhelming for off-worlders. Please try to maintain your composure regardless of what you witness. Jack nodded, straightening his dress uniform. I appreciate the heads-up, Emissary. I'll do my best not to embarrass Earth or myself. As they approached massive doors that seemed to be made of liquid metal, Jack heard a sound that sent shivers down his spine, a haunting, multi-toned melody that seemed to resonate within his very cells. The song of arrival, Six explained. It announces visitors to the court. Brace yourself, ambassador. And remember, no matter what happens, do not show fear. The doors parted, revealing a vast chamber that defied physics. The ceiling stretched impossibly high, dotted with what looked like miniature galaxies swirling in real time. The floor beneath their feet was transparent, revealing an ocean of bioluminescent creatures swimming far below. But it was the occupants of the room that truly captured Jack's attention. Hundreds of Zephyrians lined the chamber, their scales shimmering in a dazzling array of colors and patterns. Some floated effortlessly in the air, while others seemed to phase in and out of reality itself. At the far end of the chamber, atop a dais of pulsating crystal, sat the most magnificent being Jack had ever seen. The Zephyrian Emperor was easily twice the size of his subjects, with scales that shifted through every color of the spectrum. His compound eyes, each the size of dinner plates, fixed upon Jack with an intensity that made the human feel like his very soul was being examined. "Approach, Earthling," the Emperor's voice boomed, somehow conveying both curiosity and disdain. Jack stepped forward, acutely aware of every eye in the room upon him. He bowed deeply, recalling his diplomatic training. "Your Imperial Majesty, I am Ambassador Jack Harper of Earth. I come bearing greetings and hopes for friendship between our peoples." The Emperor's scales rippled in a pattern Jack couldn't interpret. "We have observed your kind from afar, Ambassador. Your species is young, impulsive, often driven by emotion rather than logic. Tell us, why should the Zephyrian Empire lower itself to treat with Earth as equals?" Jack felt a bead of sweat trickle down his back. This was the moment of truth. "Your Majesty, it's true that humanity is young compared to your ancient and wise civilization. But it is precisely our youth and our emotions that make us valuable allies." A murmur rippled through the court, but Jack pressed on. "We humans are adaptable, innovative. We see possibilities where others see only obstacles. Our emotions drive us to create art, music, and literature that touch the soul. And yes, sometimes our impulsiveness leads to mistakes, but it also allows us to take leaps of faith to achieve the impossible." The Emperor leaned forward, his massive form casting a shadow over Jack. "Pretty words, Ambassador. But words alone do not forge alliances. We require proof of humanity's worth." Before Jack could respond, a new voice rang out, lighter, almost musical, yet filled with authority. "Father, if I may interject." All eyes turned to a smaller figure that seemed to materialize from thin air beside the Emperor's throne. Jack's jaw dropped as he beheld the newcomer. She was clearly Zephyrian, but unlike any he had seen before, her scales were a deep, shimmering blue that reminded Jack of Earth's oceans. Instead of 4 arms, she had 2, with delicate tendrils extending from her fingers that danced in the air. But it was her eyes that truly captivated him, 3 of them, arranged in a triangle on her face, each a swirling vortex of silver and gold. "Princess Sarah," the Emperor acknowledged, his tone softening slightly. "You wish to speak on behalf of the humans." Jack's mind raced. A princess. This wasn't in any of his briefings. Kaxira glided down from the dais, her movements as fluid as water. As she approached Jack, he noticed the other Zephyrians recoiling slightly, averting their eyes. He didn't understand why. To him, she was mesmerizing. "Ambassador Harper," Cholera said, her voice like chimes in the wind, "I have studied your species extensively. Your capacity for growth, for overcoming adversity, is unparalleled in our experience. I believe an alliance with Earth could benefit both our peoples greatly." Jack bowed, trying to hide his surprise. "Thank you, Your Highness. I couldn't agree more." The Emperor's scales darkened. "Daughter, your fascination with lesser species clouds your judgment. The humans are unpredictable, potentially dangerous." Kaxira turned to face her father, her tendrils swirling with barely contained energy. "And that unpredictability is exactly what we need, Father. Our empire has grown stagnant, set in its ways. We risk becoming obsolete in a rapidly changing galaxy. A tense silence fell over the court. Jack held his breath, sensing he was witnessing a pivotal moment in Zephyrien politics. Finally, the Emperor spoke. "You truly believe in the human's potential, daughter?" "I do, father," Zephyria replied without hesitation. The Emperor's compound eyes seemed to bore into Jack's soul. "Very well. We shall put your faith to the test, Ambassador Harper. If you truly wish for an alliance between our peoples, then you shall bind yourself to us in the most sacred way possible." Jack's heart raced. "I'm honored, Your Majesty. Whatever you ask, I will do my best to. You will marry our daughter, Princess Skyra." The words hit Jack like a physical blow. He blinked, certain he had misheard. What?" Zephyria seemed equally shocked, her scales shifting to a pale lavender. "Father, surely you can't be serious." The Emperor's voice was cold. "I am always serious, daughter. You believe in the human's worth, then prove it. Ambassador Harper, do you accept this proposal? To bind our worlds together through the sacred bond of marriage." Jack's mind whirled. This was so far beyond his mission parameters, beyond anything he could have imagined. He looked at Zephyria, saw the mixture of shock and was that hope in her alien eyes. In that moment, Jack made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. He stepped forward, chin held high, and spoke with all the conviction he could muster. "Your Majesty, I accept." The court erupted into chaos. Zephyrians buzzed and hummed in their alien language, scales flashing in a riot of colors. Jack caught snippets of translated conversation from his earpiece. Outrageous. The princess married to a human. This is madness. Extra moved closer to Jack, her voice low. "Ambassador, do you realize what you've done, the implications?" Jack met her gaze, finding himself lost in the swirling depths of her eyes. "I'm not sure I do, Your Highness. But I know this. I came here to forge an alliance between our peoples. If this is what it takes, then I'm willing to take that leap of faith." For the first time, Zephyria's face shimmered with a color Jack recognized. Admiration. "You are either very brave or very foolish, Jack Harper. Perhaps both." The Emperor's voice cut through the commotion. "It is decided. The wedding shall take place in 3 days' time. Ambassador Harper, you will be instructed in our sacred rites. And daughter," his tone softened slightly, "I hope your faith in this human is not misplaced." As the court began to disperse, still buzzing with shocked conversation, Jack felt the weight of what he'd just agreed to settle upon his shoulders. He had come to Zephyria to be a diplomat, and now he was going to be a husband to an alien princess, no less. Zix approached, his scales a swirling mix of concern and excitement. "Ambassador, I must say, when I told you to expect the unexpected, this was not what I had in mind." Jack let out a shaky laugh. "You and me both, emissary. So, what happens now?" Who had been conversing quietly with her father, returned to Jack's side. "Now, Ambassador Harper, we prepare you for a Zephirian royal wedding. I hope you're ready for the challenge of your life." As Jack looked into Zephyria's alien yet captivating eyes, he felt a mixture of terror and exhilaration. Whatever came next, he knew one thing for certain: his life and the relationship between Earth and Zephyria would never be the same. Little did Jack know that the true challenges and the greatest adventures were yet to come, for beyond the Imperial Palace, forces were already aligning against this unprecedented union, threatening not just their marriage, but the very future of both their species. Unveiling truths. The days leading up to the wedding were a whirlwind of alien customs and frantic preparations. Jack found himself thrust into a crash course on Zephirian culture, struggling to memorize complex rituals and tongue-twisting phrases in the musical alien language. But it was his time with Princess Skyra that truly opened his eyes to the wonders and dangers of this new world. "Your stance is all wrong," Zephyria chided, circling Jack as he attempted to master the intricate movements of the Zephyrien bonding dance. "You move like you're weighed down by gravity itself." Jack huffed, sweat beading on his brow. "In case you haven't noticed, Your Highness, I am weighed down by gravity. We can't all float around like ethereal space jellyfish." Axter's scales rippled with what Jack had come to recognize as amusement. "Jellyfish. I'm not familiar with this earth creature, but I suspect I should be offended." As they continued to practice, Jack couldn't help but marvel at Zephyria's graceful movements. Her tendrils swirled around her, creating mesmerizing patterns in the air. Despite the alien nature of her appearance, he found himself increasingly drawn to her. "I've been meaning to ask," Jack ventured during a break, "why do the other Zephyrians seem so uncomfortable around you? Is it because you're the princess?" Hatteras' scales darkened, and for a moment, Jack feared he had overstepped. But then she sighed, a sound like wind through crystal chimes. "It's not because I'm royalty, Jack. It's because I'm different. A genetic anomaly, you might say. My appearance is considered highly unattractive by Zephyrien standards." Jack blinked in surprise. "Unattractive? But you're—" He trailed off, realizing he was about to say beautiful to his alien fiancée. Slira's 3 eyes focused on him intently. "I'm what, Ambassador?" Before Jack could answer, a commotion erupted outside the chamber. The door burst open, revealing a flustered Zix. "Ambassador, Your Highness, you must come quickly. There's been an incident in the city." They rushed to a command center within the palace, where holographic displays showed chaotic scenes from the capital. Crowds of Zephyrians filled the streets, their scales flashing angry colors. "What's happening?" Jack demanded. The Emperor's voice boomed from behind them. "Dissent, Ambassador. It seems not everyone is pleased with our arrangement." On the screens, Jack could see signs written in Zephyrian script. His translator struggled to keep up, but he caught phrases like "purity for Zephyria" and "no to human corruption." "This is my fault," Paxera said softly. "My people fear change, and this union represents the greatest change in centuries." Jack's mind raced. He had come here to build bridges, not incite riots. "There has to be something we can do. Let me speak to them, explain our intentions." The Emperor's compound eyes fixed on Jack. "You believe you can sway an angry mob with words, human?" "It's what I do best, Your Majesty. Please, give me a chance." After a tense moment, the Emperor nodded. "Very well, Ambassador. But know this, if you fail, if any harm comes to my daughter or our people because of your actions, the consequences will be severe." Within the hour, Jack found himself on a balcony overlooking the main square of the Zephyrien capital. The crowd below buzzed with angry energy, their scales creating a dizzying kaleidoscope of hostile colors. Taking a deep breath, Jack activated the translator in his earpiece and began to speak. "People of Zephyria, I come before you not as a conqueror or a corruption, but as a friend. I understand your fears. Change is never easy, especially when it comes from beyond the stars." The crowd's agitation seemed to lessen slightly, their attention captured by the strange human addressing them. "But consider this, the universe is vast and ever-expanding. To survive, to thrive, we must be willing to grow, to adapt. Humanity and Zephyria have so much to offer each other. Our differences are not a weakness, but our greatest strength." As Jack continued, pouring his heart into every word, he felt a presence beside him. Zyra had joined him on the balcony, her scales shimmering with determination. "My people," she called out, her voice carrying across the square. "I have studied the humans, lived among you, and I tell you this, our future lies in unity, not isolation. Ambassador Harper and I are but the first step on a journey that will lead us to the stars and beyond." Something extraordinary began to happen. As Jack and Thera spoke, their words intertwining in a harmony of human passion and Zephyrian wisdom, the crowd's hostility began to fade. Scales shifted from angry reds to curious blues and greens. From the corner of his eye, Jack noticed Zephyria's form beginning to change. Her scales seemed to glow from within, and her tendrils moved with increasing speed, creating intricate patterns in the air. Suddenly, a burst of radiant energy exploded from Zephyria, washing over the crowd. Jack shielded his eyes, momentarily blinded. When his vision cleared, he gasped in awe. Zephyria had transformed. Her body now shimmered with every color imaginable, pulsing with an inner light that seemed to bend reality itself. Her 3 eyes had merged into a single mesmerizing orb that sparkled like a newborn star. The crowd fell to their knees, overcome by the sight. Whispers of the prophecy and cosmic harmony rippled through the assembly. Behold, Zephyria's voice resonated, now layered with harmonics that sent shivers down Jack's spine. The union of our peoples is not the corruption, but a fulfillment of ancient destiny. Together, we shall unlock the secrets of the universe itself. As the last echoes of Zephyria's proclamation faded, the mood in the square had transformed completely. Where there had been anger and fear, now there was awe and hope. Jack turned to Zephyria, his mind striving to process what he had just witnessed. What just happened? Zephyria's new form pulsed with energy as she regarded him with her star-like eye. The truth, Jack. What you see now is my true form, hidden for so long out of fear and misunderstanding. Your presence, your willingness to unite our peoples, has awakened something long dormant in Zephyrien genetics. Before Jack could respond, the air shimmered behind them. The Emperor materialized, his own form now radiating with a fraction of the power Zephyria displayed. The cosmic confluence, he intoned, his voice filled with wonder. A transformation spoken of only in our most ancient legends. Ambassador Harper, it seems we owe you a great debt. Your union with my daughter has unlocked the next stage of Zephyrien evolution. Jack's head spun. He had come to Zephyria expecting diplomatic negotiations, maybe some cultural exchanges. Instead, he found himself at the center of what appeared to be a cosmic awakening. As the crowd in the square began to chant their names, Jack turned to Zephyria, his alien fiancée, now transformed into something beyond his wildest imagination. So, he said with a nervous chuckle, I guess the wedding's still on. Zephyria's star eye twinkled with what Jack hoped was affection. Indeed, my dear ambassador, though I suspect it will be unlike any wedding in the history of either of our species. As Jack looked out over the cheering crowd, at the shimmering form of his soon-to-be wife, and the vast alien city beyond, he realized that his adventure was only just beginning. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he knew one thing for certain: life with Zephyria would never be boring. Little did he know that across the galaxy, other forces were taking notice of the events on Zephyria. The balance of power was shifting, and not everyone would welcome this new cosmic alliance with open arms. Galactic tensions rise. The Zephyrien royal wedding was a spectacle that defied human comprehension. Jack stood before an altar made of pulsating dark matter, surrounded by a sea of shimmering, evolved Zephyrians. The air itself seemed alive with possibility, crackling with cosmic energy. Zephyria floated towards him, her transformed body a kaleidoscope of starlight and nebulae. As they joined hands, or rather, as Jack's hands met Zephyria's ever-shifting energy tendrils, he felt a surge of power unlike anything he had ever experienced. By the authority of the cosmic confluence, the Emperor's voice boomed, resonating through multiple dimensions. I pronounce you unified in mind, body, and quantum entanglement. As their lips met, or at least as Jack's lips met what he assumed was Zephyria's equivalent in her new form, a shockwave of iridescent energy exploded outward. Jack felt his consciousness expand, touching the edges of the universe itself. But their moment of transcendent bliss was short-lived. Alarms blared throughout the palace, shattering the ethereal atmosphere. Zix burst into the chamber, his scales flashing urgent patterns. Your Majesties, Ambassador, we're under attack. Jack's mind snapped back to reality, the cosmic awareness fading. Attack? By whom? The Emperor's compound eyes narrowed. The Droxian Collective. It seems our evolution has not gone unnoticed. Holographic displays materialized around them, showing a massive fleet of biomechanical ships entering the Zephyrien system. Their twisted, organic forms bristled with weapons that pulsed with sickly green energy. The Droxians are a scourge, Zephyria explained, her star eye flaring with barely contained anger. They consume entire civilizations, assimilating their technology and genetic material. Our awakening must have drawn their attention. Jack's diplomatic instincts kicked in. Can we negotiate? Try to explain that we're not a threat. The Emperor's laugh was like rolling thunder. Negotiate with the Droxians? One does not reason with a virus, Ambassador. They seek only to consume and expand. As if to emphasize the point, the lead Droxian ship fired a massive energy beam at Zephyria's orbital defenses. The crystalline structures shattered like glass, raining debris onto the planet below. We must evacuate, Zix urged. The royal bunkers. No, Jack interrupted, an idea forming. We need to stand and fight, show the Droxians, and the rest of the galaxy, what our alliance is truly capable of. Thyra's form pulsed with approval. Jack is right, father. We cannot run from this threat. It's time to reveal the true power of the cosmic confluence. The Emperor considered for a moment, then nodded. Very well, but how do you propose we combat such overwhelming force? Jack grinned, the adrenaline of the moment pushing aside his fear. With a little human ingenuity and a lot of Zephyrian cosmic mojo. Your Majesty, does Zephyria have any ships capable of faster-than-light travel? Within hours, a daring plan was set in motion. Jack found himself aboard the Stellar Harmony, Zephyria's most advanced scientific vessel. Beside him, Tyra's radiant form illuminated the bridge with ever-shifting colors. Are you sure about this? She asked, her melodic voice tinged with concern. The risks are worth it, Jack finished. Trust me, sweetheart, if there's one thing humans excel at, it's pulling off the impossible. As the Droxian fleet drew closer, the Stellar Harmony shot forward, its engines powered by the combined cosmic energy of the evolved Zephyrians aboard. Jack felt the fabric of space-time bend around them as they executed a maneuver that would make Einstein weep. The ship corkscrewed through the Droxian formation at impossible speeds, Zephyria's energy tendrils interfacing directly with the ship's systems. In their wake, they left a trail of quantum instability that played havoc with the Droxians' biomechanical technology. Now, Jack shouted. Zephyria unleashed a pulse of pure cosmic energy, amplified by the ship's advanced systems. The pulse rippled outward, catching the destabilized Droxian ships in its wake. What happened next defied the laws of physics. The Droxian fleet began to transform. Their twisted, aggressive forms morphed and shifted, taking on aspects of Zephyrian crystal technology. Weapons became scientific instruments, and slave pens transformed into gardens. As the energy waves subsided, the comms crackled to life. A confused Droxian voice, softer and less menacing than before, spoke. What has happened to us? Jack stepped forward, straightening his now rather disheveled dress uniform. This is Ambassador Jack Harper of the Earth-Zephyrian Alliance. Your fleet has been upgraded. The virus of conquest that drove your species has been rewritten. You're free now, free to join us in exploration rather than destruction. Silence fell across the bridge as they waited for a response. Finally, the Droxian voice returned. We accept. The clarity we now possess, it's beautiful. Thank you. As cheers erupted throughout the ship and across Zephyria, Jack turned to Sarah. Her star eyes sparkled with joy and pride. Not bad for our first day as a married couple, huh? He quipped. Sarah's laugh was like music given form, rippling through multiple dimensions. Oh, Jack, I have a feeling this is only the beginning. She was right, of course. News of the Earth-Zephyrian Alliance's victory of the dreaded Droxian Collective spread across the galaxy at faster-than-light speeds. Overnight, humanity went from a barely noticed species to major players on the galactic stage. Alien races from across the cosmos began to reach out, seeking alliances, trade agreements, and cultural exchanges. The age of human isolation was over. A new era of cosmic cooperation had begun. As Jack stood on the observation deck of the stellar Harmony, arm in arm, or arm in energy tendril, with Ahura, watching the glittering expanse of the galaxy spread out before them, he marveled at the journey that had brought him here. You know, he mused, when I took this diplomatic assignment, I thought the biggest challenge would be learning alien table manners. Instead, I got a cosmic awakening, a gorgeous alien wife, and apparently some sort of galactic hero status. Zora's form shimmered with amusement. Disappointed, my love. Jack grinned, pulling her close. Are you kidding? This is the greatest adventure anyone from Earth has ever experienced, and it's only just beginning. As if on cue, an alert chimed softly. A holographic display materialized, showing a strange anomaly forming at the edge of charted space. Solara's star eye widened. Impossible. That energy signature, it's like nothing we've ever encountered. Jack felt a familiar thrill of excitement mixed with trepidation. Well then, Mrs. Harper Extra, shall we go investigate? As the stellar Harmony's engines hummed to life, preparing to carry them into the unknown, Jack realized that his life had become something straight out of the sci-fi novels he'd loved as a kid. But this was no fiction. This was his new reality. With his alien wife by his side and the wonders of the cosmos stretched out before them, Ambassador Jack Harper prepared to write the next chapter in humanity's greatest adventure. The galaxy would never be the same again. Humanity's finest hour. The stellar Harmony hurtled through the cosmos, its crystalline hull shimmering with the residual energy of 1,000 wormhole jumps. Jack Harper stood on the bridge, his once pristine diplomatic uniform now adorned with an eclectic mix of alien technology and battle scars. Beside him, Ahura's radiant form pulsed with anticipation. Status report, Jack called out, his voice carrying the weight of countless interstellar crises averted. Zix, now sporting an impressive array of cybernetic enhancements, responded from his station. We're approaching the dimensional rift, Ambassador. Sensors are going haywire. Whatever's on the other side, it's big. Jack nodded, a wry smile playing at his lips. Well, gang, looks like we've stumbled onto another Tuesday in deep space. Kasira, any cosmic insights? His alien wife's star eye swirled with complex calculations. The energy patterns are familiar, yet utterly alien. It's as if the very fabric of reality is being rewritten. Before Jack could respond, the ship shuddered violently. The viewport filled with a kaleidoscopic maelstrom of impossible colors and shifting geometries. By the Emperor's tendrils, Zix gasped, it's a Class Omega reality distortion. We're being pulled in. Jack gripped the command console, his mind racing. In the years since his marriage to Asera and the formation of the Galactic Concord, he'd faced down planet-eating hive minds and negotiated peace with four-dimensional energy beings. But this was something else entirely. All hands, brace for transdimensional shift, he shouted. Clyra, love, I could use some of that cosmic mojo right about now. Clyra's form expanded, enveloping the bridge in a protective cocoon of star stuff and quantum probability. As reality itself seemed to tear apart around them, Jack felt a familiar surge of exhilaration. This is what it meant to be human, to face the unknown with courage, creativity, and just a touch of madness. With a final, reality-bending lurch, the stellar Harmony burst through the rift. As the crew's vision cleared, a collective gasp echoed through the ship. Before them stretched a vast, impossible structure, a Dyson sphere of incomprehensible scale, its surface a patchwork of every technology and architectural style imaginable, and at its center, a swirling vortex of pure creation energy. By all that's cosmic, Sarah breathed, her voice filled with awe. It's the nexus of infinite possibilities, a myth whispered of in the oldest Zephirian legends. Jack's eyes widened as he took in the magnificent sight. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess this isn't just some ancient alien rest stop. A new voice, layered with harmonics that sent shivers down every spine, filled the bridge. Indeed not, Ambassador Harper, or should we say, Nexus Guardian Designate. A being of pure energy materialized before them, its form constantly shifting between humanoid, Zephyrien, and shapes beyond comprehension. I am the curator, it continued, keeper of the infinite nexus. We have watched your journey with great interest, Jack Harper of Earth and Sarah of Zephyria. Your union, your adventures, they have resonated across realities, awakening potentials long dormant. Jack exchanged a glance with Thyra, seeing his own mix of confusion and excitement mirrored in her cosmic gaze. I'm flattered, but why us? Why now? The curator's form rippled with what might have been amusement. Because, dear Jack, you represent the best of what sentient life can achieve. Human adaptability and imagination, combined with Zephyrien cosmic awareness, it's a synergy unseen in eons of universal history. Thyra's tendrils intertwined with Jack's hand. What does this mean for us, for our people? It means, cherished ones, that you stand at a crossroads of cosmic significance. The nexus of infinite possibilities is awakening, and with it, the power to reshape reality itself. We offer you a choice: become its guardians, shepherding the next stage of universal evolution, or return to your realm, forever changed but unbound by its cosmic duty. Jack felt the weight of galaxies on his shoulders. He thought of Earth, of the friends and family he'd left behind. He thought of the galactic Concord, still in its infancy, finding its way among the stars. And he thought of Sarah, his impossible alien wife, who had shown him wonders beyond imagination. With a deep breath, he stepped forward. Well, curator, I didn't get into the diplomatic course to play it safe, and humanity didn't reach the stars by shying away from the unknown. If you're offering us the chance to help shape a better universe, count us in. Thyra's form blazed with pride and love. Where my husband goes, I go. Our peoples, our galaxy, they've outgrown their cradles. It's time to show them the true wonders of the cosmos. The curator's energy pulsed with approval. Then let it be so. Jack Harper, Zephyria of Zephyria, we name you guardians of the infinite nexus. The power of creation itself is yours to wield, to guide the cosmos towards a brighter future. As the energies of the nexus began to flow into them, Jack turned to Sarah, a boyish grin on his face despite the cosmic power now coursing through his veins. You know, when I proposed that cultural exchange program back on Earth, I don't think this is quite what the UN had in mind. Sarah's laugh echoed across dimensions. Oh, my dear Jack, always with the understatements, shall we show the universe what humanity and Zephyria can really do? Hand in hand, cosmic energy swirling around them, Jack and Sarah stepped into their new role as cosmic guardians. The stellar harmony, now transformed into a vessel of pure possibility, prepared to carry them on adventures beyond the limits of imagination. As they set off into the infinite expanse of the multiverse, Jack couldn't help but think that this grand, impossible, beautiful cosmic journey was humanity's finest hour, and it was only the beginning. In the eons that followed, the legend of Jack Harper and Thyra, the human Zephyrien duo who reshaped the cosmos, would be told across 1 billion worlds and countless realities. Their love, their courage, and their unwavering spirit would inspire civilizations to reach for the stars and beyond. For in the end, it wasn't advanced technology or cosmic power that made them heroes. It was the simple, beautiful truth that had started it all, the power of two very different beings coming together, defying expectations, and showing the universe that love, in all its forms, was the greatest force in existence. And somewhere, in a small corner of the vast, ever-expanding multiverse, a young species on a blue-green planet looked up at the stars and dreamed of the adventures that awaited them.